A Christmas Carol. Excerpt from the end of it.
And the bedpost was his own. The bed was his own. The room was his own. Best and happiest of all, the time before him was his own, to make amends in.
I will live in the past, the present, and the future,
Scrooge repeated as he scrambled out of bed. He was so fluttered and so glowing with his good intentions that his broken voice would scarcely answer his call.
I don't know what to do,
cried Scrooge, laughing and crying in the same breath.
I'm as light as a feather. I'm as happy as an angel. I'm as merry as a schoolboy. I'm as giddy as a drunken man. A Merry Christmas to everybody. A Happy New Year to all the world.
He had frisked into the sitting room and was now standing there, perfectly winded.
There's the saucepan that the gruel was in,
cried Scrooge, starting off again and going round the fireplace.
There's the door by which the ghost of Jacob Marley entered. There's the corner where the ghost of Christmas Present sat. There's the window where I saw the wandering spirit. It's all right. It's all true. It all happened.
Really, for a man who had been out of practice for so many years, it was a splendid laugh.
I don't know what day of the month it is,
said Scrooge.
I don't know how long I've been among the spirits. I don't know anything. I'm quite a baby. No, never mind. I don't care. I'd rather be a baby. Ho, ho, ho!
He was checked in his transports by the churches ringing out the lustiest peals he had ever heard. Oh, glorious, glorious! Running to the window, he opened it and put out his head. No fog, no mist. Golden sunlight, heavenly sky, sweet fresh air, merry bells. Oh, glorious, glorious!
What's today?
cried Scrooge, calling downward to a boy in Sunday clothes, who perhaps had loitered in to look about him.
Eh?
returned the boy with all his might of wonder.
What's today, my good fellow?
Said Scrooge.
Today?
Replied the boy.
Why, it's Christmas Day!
It's Christmas Day!
Said Scrooge to himself.
I haven't missed it. The spirits have done it all in one night. They can do anything they like. Of course they can. Of course they can. Hello, my fine fellow!
Hello?
Returned the boy.
Do you know the poulterers? The poulterers? At the corner.
Scrooge inquired.
I should hope I did,
replied the lad.
An intelligent boy.
Said Scrooge.
A remarkable boy. Do you know whether they sold the prize turkey that was hanging up there?
What, the one as big as me?
Returned the boy.
What a delightful boy.
Said Scrooge.
It's a pleasure to talk to him. Yes, my buck.
It's hanging there now,
replied the boy.
Is it?
Said Scrooge.
Go and buy it.
Hockey Walker!
Exclaimed the boy.
I am in earnest. Go and buy it, and tell them to bring it here, that I may give them the direction where to take it. Come back with the man, and I'll give you a shilling. Come back with him in less than 5 minutes, and I'll give you half a crown.
The boy was off like a shot.
I'll send it to Bob Cratchit's,
whispered Scrooge, rubbing his hands and splitting with a laugh.
He shan't know who sends it. It's twice the size of Tiny Tim.
The hand in which he wrote the address was not a steady one, but write it he did, somehow, and went downstairs to open the street door, ready for the coming of the poulterer's man.
Here's the turkey! Hello! How are you, good man? Merry Christmas!
It was a turkey.
Why, it's impossible to carry that to Camden Town,
said Scrooge.
You must have a cab.
The chuckle with which he said this, and the chuckle with which he paid for the turkey, and the chuckle with which he paid for the cab, and the chuckle with which he recompensed the boy were only to be exceeded by the chuckle with which he sat down breathless in his chair again, and chuckled till he cried. Shaving was not an easy task, for his hand continued to shake very much, and shaving requires attention, even when you don't dance while you are at it. He dressed himself in all his best, and at last got out into the streets. The people were by this time pouring forth, and Scrooge regarded everyone with a delighted smile. He looked so irresistibly pleasant that 3 or 4 good-humored fellows said,
Good morning, sir.
Yes, good morning, sir.
Merry Christmas to you.
He went to church and walked about the streets and watched the people hurrying to and fro and patted children on the head and found that everything could yield him pleasure. He had never dreamed that any walk, that anything could give him so much happiness. In the afternoon, he turned his steps toward his nephew's house. He passed the door a dozen times before he had the courage to go up and knock, but he made a dash and did it.
Is your master home, my dear?
Said Scrooge to the girl.
Yes, sir.
Where is he, my love?
Said Scrooge.
In the dining room, sir, along with the mistress. I'll show you upstairs, if you please.
Fred!
Said Scrooge.
Why, bless my soul.
Cried Fred.
Who's that?
It's I, your Uncle Scrooge. I have come to dinner. Will you let me in, Fred?
Let him in. It is a mercy he didn't shake his arm off. He was at home in 5 minutes. Nothing could be heartier. Wonderful party, wonderful games, wonderful unanimity, wonderful happiness. But he was early at the office next morning. If he could only be there first and catch Bob Cratchit coming late, that was the thing he had set his heart upon. And he did it. Yes, he did. The clock struck 9. No Bob. 1:15. No Bob. He was a full 18 minutes and a half behind his time. Scrooge sat with his door wide open that he might see him come in.
Hello.
Growled Scrooge in his accustomed voice, as near as he could feign it.
What do you mean, coming in here at this time of day?
I'm very sorry, sir.
Said Bob.
I'm behind my time.
You are?
Repeated Scrooge.
Yes, I think you are. Step this way, sir, if you please.
It's only once a year, sir. It shall not be repeated.
Pleaded Bob.
I was making rather merry yesterday, sir.
Now, I'll tell you what, my friend.
Said Scrooge.
I'm not going to stand this sort of thing any longer. And therefore,
He continued, leaping from his stool.
and therefore, I am about to raise your salary. A Merry Christmas, Bob.
Said Scrooge, with an earnestness that could not be mistaken, as he clapped him on the back.
A Merry Christmas, Bob, my good fellow, than I have given you for many a year. I'll raise your salary and endeavor to assist your struggling family. And we will discuss your affairs this very afternoon. Bob Cratchit!
Scrooge was better than his word. He did it all and infinitely more. And to Tiny Tim, who did not die, he was a second father. He became as good a friend, as good a master, and as good a man as the good old city knew. Ever afterwards, it was always said of him that he knew how to keep Christmas well. May that be truly said of all of us. And so, as Tiny Tim observed,
God bless us, everyone. Whee!